good, Craig? Oh, it's been a while. It's been another minute. I feel like I do every time I do an episode or we do an episode. I say that it's been a while, and it has. Sometimes we just go in between episodes, take a breaks and stuff like that. Mainly because we ain't got nothing to talk about, don't want to talk about, just busy, everything like in between. But wanted to really do an episode today by myself. If anyone pops in, that's perfectly fine. They can join. If they don't, that's also fine. I may later do another one with Jordan if he wants to. We'll see. But basically, today I wanted to do an episode talking about Clair Obscur Expedition 33. So I've basically been playing this game for the last what is it, two. So the game released on April 24th, 2025. That was about 3-ish weeks ago. So I've basically been playing the crap out of this game since then, since it released. Obviously, your bigger streamers and gaming websites and shit like that got early copies to review them and released all their reviews and everything. But this game, I cannot give this game enough props and praise because it is truly, I wouldn't say revolution, but it is truly a spectacular game. So background on the game, it was made by a French studio called Sandall Interactive, and I believe it is some ex Ubisoft developers. They just broke off, and it's funny because just some of the stories that have come out regarding this game, it's insane because they're, like I said, they're ex Ubisoft developers, but they basically broke off because they said that they got bored at Ubisoft and they wanted to make this game. They've been talking about it for a while and they just wanted to break off and make their own game essentially. So Clair Obscur is a turn-based RPG, and the turn-based genre um, hasn't been fully, like, it hasn't been as popular for the past, I want to say honestly 2 decades. I know like Metaphor Refantasio last year won a lot of awards and it brought back turn based. I didn't necessarily play it just because of the style and whatnot, but it definitely brought back fans of the turn based style. So this game, when I first saw it, I think we first saw it like last year at either the Game Awards or Summer Game Fest, and it looked phenomenal. And instantly, when I saw the combat showed off, I immediately went back to The Legend of Dragoon. And if anyone knows me, anyone gaming or whatever, and I'm sure I've mentioned it on the podcast before, but Legend of Dragoon is possibly my favorite, at least top 5, just all time in general, because of the combat. And this combat in Clair Obscur is very similar because basically it has mixes of a lot of games. They took inspiration from a lot of games, and one of the biggest ones that people will instantly notice is Final Fantasy X. And it has something to do with the story, how it was told, and everything like that, but also with the combat of the active combat that Final Fantasy X did. Basically, on the side, you could see the turns of your characters and how you're going to play them out, which allows you to strategize around how you need to defeat the boss or the enemy or whatever. So it'll tell you how it's who's going to play, if it'll be you, how many times you're going to play in a row, and then the boss, how many turns they're going to get in a row. But basically for in terms of offense, you do certain abilities. You have up to you can have at least 6 abilities on your bar or whatever, and you'll go through and choose them. But then it makes it interactive, like Legend of Dragoon did back in the day. Of basically once you initiate the ability, you have I think it's either 1 to 2 prompts. I don't think there's a 3 prompt, which would have made it much, the combat even more in depth. But basically, um, once it pops up, you have it goes in a square, and you hit. For me, I'm playing on a PS5 controller, so I hit X, and you have a one side of the square to hit in between it to get what is called a perfect hit. And if you do that, then obviously the ability is going to hit a lot harder. Um, one and that, like I said, that it happens in Legend of Dragoon. They have something called additions, and you have to every slash you have to press your button back in the day. So, and then on the defensive side of things, you get to either parry, get hit, or dodge. Uh, Now, for the dodges, you can either just dodge or perfect dodge, but basically it rewards you when you learn the enemy's moves and everything like that. You could either dodge, and I'll talk about something in a minute, but you can get something in return if you dodge correctly, or if you parry, you also get something in return. However, you could also be rewarded by if you parry every single attack that the enemy does, you get to counter attack them. So it's wonderful. So it's a mix of a lot of things, a lot of games. They took inspiration just from a bunch. I think they even said that they took inspiration from The Legend of Dragoon, which is phenomenal to me. I will always preach this. I think Legend of Dragoon deserves a full remaster of today's graphics or a full remake. But I know that I think it's a Japan studio of Sony Interactive. I don't think it exists anymore, so it'll probably never happen. It's just unfortunate because I do think that game was wonderful. It was basically um, Sony was trying to do their own thing and match Final Fantasy VII back in the day. Unfortunately, Legend of Dragoon came out right before the PS2, so it was definitely overlooked by a lot of people early 2000. So, but there's 100% a cult following, myself included. I've beat it several times. It's just, it'll always remain in my heart, one of my favorite games of all time, if not the favorite game. So, some of the other games, like I said, Final Fantasy X, which is, another beloved RPG of everyone, from the combat to the story and everything like that. But as you play through Expedition 33, you also get heavy Elden Ring vibes in terms of the environment, especially for a particular boss. And if Jordan ever listens to this, he 100% knows what I'm talking about. Um, and just to say, there may be spoilers or whatever if anyone ever listens to this. So, just be warned. But at this point, like I said, it's been out for 3 weeks. So if you're listening, that's on you. But um but yeah, the game is phenomenal. And on top of all that, the combat, the story, the environments, just some other things that makes this game just the cherry on the top and stuff is the voice cast, bro. I'm telling, just listen to some of the people that voiced these characters. Sorry, I'm pulling it up. So, like I said, spoilers, but you'll play whatever. So, the main characters, uh, the main character that you play as through some of the game is his the character's name is Gustav. and also like I said, it is a French studio, so the game is kind of French, which is awesome. But Charlie Cox, if you know who Charlie Cox is, he plays Daredevil in the Netflix series, in the new Disney series. He is a phenomenal actor, and he is the lead role in this game. That's just amazing. Um, so another character, she becomes the main character, but her name is Mael. She is voiced by Jennifer English. I'm not familiar with her work per se. Oh, well, I guess this is another big one. She actually voiced um a character in Baldur's Gate 3. So another, spectacular game of the year and everything like that. So two people already voices that just that's awesome. Then and this man has been voicing characters, video game characters, like crazy for the past like five five-ish years. Ben Starr, he voices Verso in the game. Ben Starr, if you don't know, voices in First Berserker Kazan, Balatro, and Final Fantasy 16, Clive. Like that's phenomenal. This man is all over the place, but he is definitely one of my favorite voice actors, and he's just killing it. He kills it with Verso. That's definitely a debate, or not a debate, but a question I have for Jordan once he's finished with the game entirely, of who he thought did a better job, either Ben Starr as Verso or Charlie Cox as Gustav. I think it'll be a little bit hard to um, give that, just because the amount of each character, how much they're in the game itself. So personally, I think Charlie Cox does a phenomenal job with Gustav, but Ben Starr just Clive, amazing. I've heard, not that he doesn't do great in First Person Kazan, but he doesn't get a lot of voice lines in that game. So Ben Starr's awesome. So we got Lune is one of the characters, and she was voiced by Christy Ryder. Let's see what Christy did. So we got, she's known for Space Pirates, The Girl Before, and The Sandman. Ooh, The Sandman, like the show? Huh. That's awesome. I need to rewatch Sandman. Um Lune, wonderful character as well. Ciel by Shyla Nix. Let's see what has she done? Not Cyberpunk. So she voiced something in Cyberpunk. That's awesome. Um and then the main, kind of not the main, but like he definitely is portrayed like in the game as one of the bigger villains. His character's name is Renoir. Is played by Andy Serkis. That man is awesome. Obviously, if you know him in playing Gollum, he in the Hobbit trilogy or in the Lord of the Ring trilogy, Andy Serkis is a cornerstone in the acting. So, and Renoir does amazing. Then we sorry, and then we got Rich Keeble playing Minoko. Who is Rich Keeble? He plays something in Rivals and Good Omens. Minoko's one of my favorite characters for sure in the game. Some of the lines that him and Verso go back and forth is phenomenal. And then rounding it out is the character called Eske. Is played by Maxence Casarlo. I'm not sure how to even say that, but he's also awesome. So let's see if he plays anything else. He's in Eon's Echo, Logan the Wolf, a Wolverine fan film. Okay. Nothing too big that I can see of off the top of my head. But anyways, the voice cast in this game is phenomenal. 100%. Just every line is delivered perfectly. And I think the writing is also just amazing. So, but like I said, I can't give this game enough praise just because it's like a breath of fresh air. Because like I said, the turn-based genre has been kind of died off really around early 2000 when Final Fantasy X was released. So, and then a lot of people just couldn't get it right, and it is funny because of how you know Square Enix was like the titan of the industry when it came to those turn-based games back in the day, and then they haven't been able to really do anything like this in the past 2 or 3 decades. Well, two like decade and a half or so. Um, Obviously, they've adapted to what the audience wants with like Final Fantasy 15 and 16, and then Final Fantasy 7, trilogy that's going on right now. So I think there's a place for all those types of you know combat that's going on, but there's something about the turn-based system that it just feels nostalgic, but if done right, it's great. It really is. Because it makes it interactive. It's not just pressing a button or like mashing the button over and over, kind of like Devil May Cry ish, or even Final Fantasy 7, ish. But because like I said, you have to hit your mark every time to make sure that your ability hits entirely with the full power that's going to go through. But also, it's rewarding through the countering the countering system. As much as Donkey, if he ever listens to this, doesn't want to admit this, and a lot of people I've seen compare it to, is Sekiro-esque. Sekiro is a phenomenal game made by From Software, and the parry system in that game is just top notch. And like, you know, it just it rewards you so much to learn the enemy's move sets to do the parrying and stuff. Like you can obviously dodge, and there's bigger windows for the dodges and perfect dodges, and that's what they definitely recommend. Is like one of the tips when you first start the game. As you learn the enemies, try to dodge first because there's bigger windows than there are parries. And one of the best things I can recommend, because I saw it like on TikTok or something, the pairing it's not kind of like say Elden Ring or even Sekiro where you have to watch the enemy and their move set of how they swing. This game does a great job for its sound because how you can get in tune with, like for dodging you can just watch their move set, and just go off of that. But for parrying, it's all about the sound. You can hear the sound coming, and if as long as you can react quick enough with the sounds, you will be golden. Um, so I finished the game, like just the story of the game, with about 25 hours, and now that it did include some of the side content while I was going through, but you don't necessarily unlock everything until you get to. So there's 3 acts, and you don't unlock everything in terms of exploring the world until Act 3. So you could do a decent chunk of side content through Acts 1 and 2, mainly 2, but the world fully opens up once you get to a certain or you get a certain ability into Act 3. So, but for me, I played it on like the normal difficulty. Jordan's playing on expert, which is great for him. I don't I would like to know, I'm curious to know the actual numbers in terms of how much harder they are. Because even on normal, at certain bosses, when I was at certain levels, I was still getting one shot. Because your characters don't necessarily have a lot of health. You can build them that way, but the bosses can hit you so hard it doesn't matter how much you build your attributes up. So and a cool way too that they do the attribute system is you have a weapon. That's all you have that you equip. You don't. It's not like say typical RPGs where you equip like armor, your vest or your chest, legs, and everything like that. It's all about the weapon, and I think that simplifies it in a good way. But basically, your weapon has certain stats on it that scale better. So some could scale with agility, some could scale with defense, luck, which is crit, might being attack power, defense, just you reduce your how much you're taking, or vitality for health. So and agility. Agility just means that you're going to be able to, it ups your speed. You can attack faster, which is great in a turn-based style because, like I said earlier, it'll show you when your character is going to get to go. So the higher the speed is on a certain character, they're going to get to go in the line of your turns and whatnot. And also, obviously, the higher speed you have compared to the boss, that means the more turns you're going to get compared to the boss. So, um, but yeah, the combat is great. The parrying dodging system is great. The story is phenomenal. How it ends, the twists and turns that happen throughout the game, and just what some of the bigger moments throughout the game is great. How Act 1 ends is very unfortunate. I'm not going to necessarily say what happens, but if you played this game what happens, and it's a gut punch, really, because yeah, I can't say much more without kind of spoiling of what is in your mind going to happen, but just it's awesome. But as the story goes along, it gets even better. And I saw this one guy that was reviewing it, and he makes a very good point. The first hour of this game starts out with such a high in terms of the characters that you get introduced to, and the tragedy that already happens in the first hour is such a high that it necessarily never goes above that. However, it maintains that. Now there may be a little dip in the story, or just I wouldn't even say there was a lull in terms of moving from one place to the next, because it is very the world, how it evolves with what you have, how to get around. It's a great progression system. So it's not that, it's more the story. It never goes above that high, but it never really dips so low that you are kind of questioning it. So, and just also the music in this game, it's so also funny thing that weird thing that I guess happened with the development. They found the the composer to do the music off of SoundCloud. Like, that's just awesome. So I'm sure that kept budget down a lot, but the composer is phenomenal. The French music, I 100% have already downloaded it onto my Spotify. I will just sit. Honestly, I could, if ever I have a minute just to listen, I will turn the game on just to listen to the intro sequence, or sorry, the main screen, just the main screen. It's amazing. There is a different music for every time you step into a new area and battle. And obviously every boss has its own theme. It's just, I can't give it enough praise. Like, there's a lot of games that have memorable music for certain bosses or even say themes, but not throughout the entire game, where it's different every time you step into a new area. So I cannot give them enough praise for that. Um, Obviously, there's little things that I think that could make this game just a straight masterpiece, but that's like with every game. Some of the things, like the only bug I necessarily ran into was I got stuck in the world one time, but they make it so easy. This game does an auto save feature. It's not like typical RPGs where you go to a save and you save right then and there. It's saving every time something happens. So there's the auto saves is very um, convenient. So I just reloaded the save, which was at like maybe a minute before that, where I got stuck, and I just went on about my day. And they're obviously working on bugs to fix things like that, because things are going to be, a game's not going to come out perfect, regardless of how well it's reviewed by the critics and um, the fans. It'll never be perfect. However, this game, just all that other stuff overshadows anything that you could point out that's wrong with this game. There are some clipping issues as well in terms of characters getting stuck on things. I'm sure they'll iron those out by either smoothing something or just allowing your character to go through certain things. But yeah, I'm close to like 60, 65 hours right now in terms of playtime. Like I said, I've beaten the game. I've done all the side content that you can do in terms of bosses. I'm trying to 100% it. So I actually missed something through my first playthrough. I didn't realize that. And unless you're following a guide to the T, then you're gonna miss things. So I'm going back right now through New Game Plus to try and find those things so I can get the technical platinum trophy. And I don't remember the last time I actually got a platinum trophy that I've 100% enjoyed and wanted to do. So it says a lot for this game. So I can't give it enough praise. As it stands on Metacritic, which is the big website that judges games, and they do movies and everything like that. However, most people go to their game reviews, and currently it is sitting at a 92 on Metacritic off of 77 critic reviews, and then a 9.7 for user scores. So, and it's over 11,000 people have rated this game at 9.7 or higher. That's phenomenal, dude. And they've already sold, I think, like 2 or 3 million copies. And that's not including Xbox Pass holders. So it released on everything except for Switch. I hope it comes to Switch and get an even bigger audience out there, because I do think a lot of people on the Switch would want to play this. So, but yeah, I just wanted to hop on, honestly, and do a quicker episode, because I know it's been a while, but also just I've been really enjoying this game, and I wanted to get my thoughts out there about that. I'm going to ask Jordan if he wants to do one with me, more of a spoiler type thing, once he's fully finished with the game. If he doesn't, that's perfectly fine. You'll have this one to listen to. I know I rambled a little bit more, but I really just wanted to get my thoughts out, because this game is phenomenal and a breath of fresh air to the turn-based genre, but just games in general. It shows that we don't need this high budgets um, studios to put out something that could be phenomenal, but at the same time, when these smaller developers are given the chance and the opportunity, they can do phenomenal things too. So shout out to Sandall Interactive, and I hope they do DLC. It's going to be very hard for them to beat this game if they ever create another game. However, this being their first game, it's a great starting point. Um, Highly recommend anyone to play this game, even if you're not a fan of turn based. But play it for the story, play it for the combat, the environment, the world, the music alone, and you will greatly appreciate it. I promise. So, but for now, I'm gonna sign off. Hopefully we'll get back into it, doing more episodes and whatnot, getting everyone involved. I still want to do an episode with America on Verdance coming back. I know it's been out for a little bit, but regardless, I still want to get his thoughts. Hopefully, me and Donkey are going to be playing Split Fiction here soon, and I know Elden Ring Night Rain is coming up soon, so maybe I can get Jordan and Kiwi's thoughts on that. So, but thank you for listening. Please go play this game, Clair Obscur Expedition 33. So remember, all the socials, Twitter, YouTube, Spotify. I believe it's on Apple Podcast if you want to listen to it there. Give us comments, feedback, whatever. And, shout out to Ray Legends if you want to, Shadow Ray Legends if you want to sponsor us, hit us up. So I'm going to end it there. And thank you for listening. And remember, you can continue to believe us if you don't. Peace.